Welcome to Jikook. Hope you're all doing well, Jakook fans. Today, I'll bring you a video full of happiness, tenderness, and surprises. Just from watching the first episode, you immediately conclude that HYBE is promoting a couple. So, here's my question. If the full-length documentary turned out to have more Jakook content, what would you say? That it's natural, or that they're in love? This question may sound simple, but in ARMY circles, it is a topic that always sparks long, emotional, and also interpretive discussions. Since the beginning of BTS's existence, the relationship between members has always been in the spotlight. However, the dynamic between Park Jimin and Jungkook, known as Jikook, has its own charm that is hard to ignore. In the first episode of the documentary, many viewers felt that the interaction between Jimin and Jungkook looked more prominent than the others. Starting from the gaze, the physical closeness, to the small moments that seem spontaneous, everything seems to be arranged into a narrative that is too fitting to be called a coincidence. This is where the big question arises. Is this the result of deliberate editing, or is it indeed reality captured by the camera? Some fans believe that the camera never really lies. They see those moments as proof of the authenticity of a long-established relationship. For them, Jikook is not just fan service, but a reflection of deep emotional closeness. The way Jimin notices Jungkook, or how Jungkook responds to Jimin's presence, is often thought of as something difficult to make up. But on the other hand, there are also those who are more skeptical. They argue that as a large entertainment company, HYBE certainly understands what attracts fans' attention. In the K-pop industry, narrative and storytelling are an important part of marketing strategy. Therefore, it is possible that the focus on Jakook is an editorial choice to increase engagement and create buzz among fans. Interestingly, both of these perspectives have a solid foundation. If we look at it from a production point of view, every documentary has to go through a selection and editing process. Not all recorded moments will be shown. That is, what we see is a curated version. If Jakook appears more often, it could be because there are indeed a lot of their moments, or because those moments are considered the most interesting to show. However, if we look at it from a personal side, the relationship between BTS members is known to be very close. They have spent many years together, going through ups and downs, industry pressures, and incredible career journeys. In this context, the closeness between Jimin and Jungkook could have been completely natural, without the need for a hidden setting or agenda. What makes this discussion even more interesting is how each audience brings their own interpretation. Some look at chemistry, some see strategy, and some just enjoy without trying to analyze too deeply. All of these perspectives are valid because at the end of the day, the viewing experience is something subjective. If later the full-length documentary features more of Jakook's content, fans' reactions are likely to be even more mixed. Some may feel confirmed by their belief that the relationship is special. Some may be more convinced that this is part of a deliberately constructed narrative. However, perhaps the more important question is not whether it is natural or not, but why are we so curious? What makes the relationship between these two individuals so interesting that it sparks so much theory and debate? The answer could be simple, because humans are naturally attracted to relationships, emotions, and connections. In a world full of scripts and strategies, seeing something that feels real becomes invaluable. And Jakook, with all their dynamics, offers a space for fans to feel that, whether it's really real or the result of perception. In the end, whether it's natural or the result of a promotion may never be completely answered. But maybe that's where the attraction lies. That uncertainty actually keeps people watching, keeps discussing, and keeps connecting, not only with their idols, but also with fellow fans. So, if one day you watch the entire documentary and find more of Jakook's moments, ask yourself again, how did you feel when you saw it? Because perhaps the real answer lies not in what is shown, but in how you interpret it. It is that feeling that is often the key to this whole experience. When you look at the interaction between Park Jimin and Jungkook, there's something that feels more something that's hard to explain with logic alone. It's not just about what they do, but how they do it. The way they stare at each other, laugh, or even sit together often leaves a deep impression on the audience. At this point, the boundary between reality and perception begins to become blurred. Do we really see what exists, or do we see what we want to see? In the world of fandom, especially one as big as BTS, this kind of interpretation is very common. Every little detail can be the subject of analysis. Every moment can have a hidden meaning, at least for those who want to discover it. If the documentary continues to show Jikook's moments consistently, then the narrative that is formed will be even stronger. Not only because of the frequency, but also because of the patterns that are starting to be seen. Humans naturally tend to look for patterns, and when they are discovered, we begin to associate them with certain meanings. In this context, the more Jikook moments are shown, the more likely it is that the audience will see him as something significant. However, it's also important to understand that such closeness doesn't always mean something romantic. Very deep friendships, especially those built over the years like the ones experienced by the members of BTS, can look very intense from the outside. They have been through hard training, global pressure, and life together for a long time. This kind of bond is not easy for outsiders to understand, so it is often misinterpreted. On the other hand, it is undeniable that the entertainment industry also understands the power of chemistry. Engaging interactions will always be the main attraction for the audience. And when two individuals have strong dynamics on screen, it will naturally get more attention, whether intentional or not. Another interesting thing is how this discussion about Jikook never really ends. Every new piece of content, every piece of video, or even every photo can trigger a new wave of analysis. This shows that the relationships on display, whatever form they take, have a real emotional impact on fans. In fact, for some people, following these dynamics is part of the experience of being an ARMY. Not just about the music, but also about the stories, relationships, and journeys they witness over time. In this case, Jakook is not just two individuals, but also a narrative that lives within the community. If we look deeper, perhaps what makes all this so interesting is the ambiguity. There is no definitive answer, no confirmation that is completely clear. And it is precisely because of this that everyone is free to have their own interpretation. Some may continue to believe that it's all natural, that the camera is just capturing something that already exists. Others may still think that there is an element of production at play. And there are also those in the middle, accepting that maybe this is a combination of both.